All right, looks like we're live. All right, welcome everybody. And what a day, what a day, what a day. Unfortunately, not what a day for our New York Mets. What a day for New York. It looks like, unfortunately, Juan Soto is going to New York, but he's going to the wrong team. Looks like he's on the verge of going to the New York Yankees. Brian Cashman and how it looks like they are putting their chips to the center. They are moving everything to the center of the table right now. And I was really thinking about this. Why the hell have the Yankees so aggressively changed their approach from a couple years ago? A couple years ago, they had one of the highest payrolls, and every year they kept losing, and they kept saying, it doesn't matter how you spend, how much you spend. It matters how you spend your money. And now, if you look at it, the Yankees are nearing a $300 million payroll, but they're going to sign Juan Soto, supposedly, right? That's what they want to do. And then they want to sign Yamamoto. Okay, that really kind of messes up our plans and plans of a couple other teams. So we're going to talk about that and how that doesn't really mesh, because I want to talk about how the Mets have put themselves apart in the Yamamoto sweepstakes. They are in a category of their own, and that is, thank you. I got to say thank you to our owner, Steve Cohen, because he did an amazing thing last week. We've just learned about it today, but we're going to go over how Steve Cohen has distinguished himself in the Yamamoto sweepstakes and how I hope that'll be the difference. Okay, what I was thinking about, especially since I saw Cashman interviewed yesterday, he mentioned Steve Cohen, and he mentioned how it's going to be tough to compete with a Titan like Steve Cohen. And I kind of thought the guy was, being a bit arrogant, knowing that he has Juan Soto almost the deal almost done, and him kind of like, mocking Steve Cohen. And I think those comments are going to really come back to bite a guy like Cashman, because Steve Cohen doesn't take this sort of stuff lightly. And I feel that the presence of Steve Cohen looming across the river in Queens, it adds fuel to the Yankees' fire. It fuels this impotence of trying to get better, but also getting better, I think, in the wrong way. The Yankees are supposedly going to give up a very large package. I hope it's going to be a crazy, crazy package. I hope they give up a lot of package. Steve Cohen, I wholeheartedly believe is pushing Brian Cashman to make these sort of moves. Really, I 100% do. And Steve Cohen is also going to be the reason why Brian Cashman doesn't put his head on the pillow and sleeps at night. And I'll tell you why. Brian Cashman, I'm going to repeat this, whether it looks like he's going to get Juan Soto, but when he transfers Juan Soto and Juan Soto is sitting on his roster, Brian Cashman will not be able to sleep at night for one reason. And that reason is because of Mr. Steve Cohen. And I'll tell you why that's so important. The Yankees are giving up a lot of talent for Juan Soto. There is no guarantee that next year Juan Soto, at the age of 26, will sign with the New York Yankees. And there even is a less of a chance that he will sign because his agent is Scott Boras. That is why, if everybody's wondering, why is there no interest in Juan Soto? Why aren't teams making offers to the Padres? Puzzling, right? Are the Yankees the only damn team out there that has prospects? Are the Yankees the only damn team out there that is willing to make a trade with the Padres? No, that's not the case. They're not the only team that has prospects. They're not the only team that can afford them. But here's the thing. They are the only team right now that's willing to risk losing these top-tier prospects for virtually only 1 year of service. Only 1 year service, because it is made clear from Scott Boras and Juan Soto that they are not signing until free agency. They are not. Juan Soto already turned down almost a $500 million contract from the Nationals. He did that 2 or 3 years ago, and that's when he was traded from the Nationals to the Padres. So the Nationals didn't want to take the chance. They said, you know what? Let's recoup anything we can. This guy's not signing. So the Padres, what they did was they traded for him. They gave up a lot of top-tier talent. And don't get me wrong, the Padres in the last couple of years, they tried to sign him. But, of course, he went to the same type of mantra. He's not signing until free agency. Brian Cashman sees an opportunity right now. He has Aaron Judge in his prime. He has Garrett Cole in his prime. There's a damn opportunity to seize it. So he's seizing the moment right now. He's seizing the moment. But at the end of the day, Steve Cohen is looming. He is looming across the river. Juan Soto, if he likes it in New York, great. He would just have to move right across the river, and he would be in the New York Mets. I kind of see Juan Soto as more of a National League guy anyway, but that's the big risk. And that is the reason why Brian Cashman will not sleep at night. Their number one goal once he gets traded to the Bronx will be to sign him. But I wholeheartedly believe that Scott Boras is going to tell Juan Soto, you want a damn bidding war. You want a bidding war between both of the New York teams and any other franchise that's willing to sign him. And there will be teams willing to sign him if they don't have to give up 4 or 5 of their top prospects. Yes, there will be teams next year that will pay him $500 million. So Scott Boras will not, I 100% will not let Juan Soto sign in New York with the New York Yankees. All right? So it's fine. He'll be traded to New York, and that's that. All right, so let's move on to Yamamoto. And the Yankees believe they're in it for Yamamoto, but I believe the Mets have, I don't want to say a leg up, but I believe Steve Cohen's actions gives them a bit of an advantage over the Yankees and other ball clubs. So a report came out today that said that Steve Cohen personally flew over to Japan to meet with Yamamoto, to go out to dinner, to meet with him and his family. So I don't think any other owners have done that. I know scouts have done that. I know GMs that have done that. But, from what I'm reading in the Japanese culture, when you're in business, so this is going to be a business relationship. Yamamoto's coming over here, yes, to pitch buzz, but it's a business. Steve Cohen's in the business of baseball, Major League Baseball. He's the owner. He is the top dog. Now, what relationship in the Japanese culture is ultra, ultra important. What better to start a relationship than with the guy at the top? When the guy at the top extends a hand to you, that is the best way to start a relationship. And I think that stands out as a tremendous difference from all the other ball clubs that send kind of like their lackeys. Like, Brian Cashman went over to Japan a couple times. Other GMs have went over. Scouts have went over. But I haven't heard any owners that have went over and did what Steve Cohen and Alex Cohen have done. They are letting Yamamoto know that we're not only a business, we are a family. And if you want a place to grow and succeed, there's no other place than with this team, this organization. We are growing now and in the future. So that's what I really, really like. And that's what I believe really sets us apart from other franchises. It really does. It's more than just about money. As we've seen with Ohtani. Ohtani came over years ago. It wasn't about making the biggest paycheck. And I think it's going to be similar to Yamamoto. Although Yamamoto is going to make a crap ton of money. The latest projection or highest projection has him making close to $250 million. I don't know if that's anywhere near accurate. A lot of MLB reports, I'm sure everybody has witnessed this. A lot of BS is in this report. A lot of BS. And, the biggest and most trickiest thing is to try not to parrot the BS. More give our opinions and try to figure out what's what. Hey, Victor, what's going on? That's a very good point. You just bring up, if the Mets don't get Yamamoto, it will be an awful offseason for us, period. Now, I think that getting Yamamoto puts us on a different trajectory. So I think David Stearns and the Mets have a plan A and they have a plan B. We've seen that if we've looked at some report. Plan A with the pitching is obviously Yamamoto. That is plan A. The Mets have a plan B trajectory. It's not going to be anything near Yamamoto. So let's get that straight. And do you really want to invest a lot of money in Jordan Montgomery? Now, I know he's a talented pitcher, but he's not a $200 million pitcher. You know, a lot of these guys at the top of the market, because of a bad pitching market, like there's only two or three guys at the top. Like you have Blake Snell, you have Yamamoto, you have Jordan Montgomery, and you know, that's really it. Like I'm not an Eduardo Rodriguez type of guy. And the rest of the pitchers really drop off. So I'm only willing to invest in a guy like Yamamoto, and we're going to have a lot of trouble. If we don't get a Yamamoto, I do have a plan B. And the plan B is strengthening the bullpen, taking pressure off the starting pitchers. If you're not able to get that starting rotation that you want to get, you kind of maybe replicate what the 2015 Royals had. They had a dominant relief corps. And what do we have that no other team has? We have one of the most dominant pitchers in our baseball in the pen, in Edwin Diaz. Now, he's coming back off an injury, but if you couple him, and I know this is going to be like, you know, kind of like, this is going to be a little different, but I think it'll really help the rotation. Let's just say you want to have the best bullpen in baseball. The Mets could have that opportunity. You have Edwin Diaz there. If they want to give Josh Hader $17 million, you have your 8th and 9th inning locked down. If you want to take a chance on a guy like Liam Hendricks, unfortunately, the guy came back from cancer last year, so he didn't have the best year, but he's also a guy who's talented and you could get on the cheap. I would invest in him. David Robertson was a guy who was, for us, closed. He was almost lights out half the season. That's another guy I would invest in the pen. And if you really, that could be your plan B option. If you don't get the rotation of the starters that you want to get, you have an opportunity right now. There are some really good, dominant arms in the pen that you can invest in. Also, you could go after Jordan Hicks. So if you want to spend a lot of money on the bullpen, there are guys out there who can shut the door in the 8th, 9th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. So that's how you shorten games. You have a pen. You have a dominant pen. Takes stress and pressure off your pitchers. Takes stress and pressure off your hitters. That's also a different approach. So to answer your question, if they don't get a Yamamoto, that could be another route or another option that they kind of go down. All right, Victor, thank you again for another comment. I find it head scratching. Mets won't trade for Soto. He's 24, and most of these Mets prospects are what ifs. Beatty, Vientos, Ronnie Mauricio. And you make a good point. A lot of these minor leaguers across the league, a lot of top-rated minor league prospects, you don't know what they're going to be until they get to the major leagues. They're all what ifs. Some are more guarantees than others, but here's the issue and here's the problem. We don't really match up with the Padres. The Padres are looking for proven pitching and they're looking for pitching prospects, right? So the Yankees find themselves in the position where they have more developed pitching. Like Michael King, I don't know who watched the Yankees last year, but I believe he's a 27, 28-year-old, and he had some dominating performances last year, dominating. So he's locked up for 4 or 5 years. I think he's locked up for 5 years of control. Then they got other guys in the top of their farm system like Drew Thorpe. He's another good young pitcher. There's other guys like Clark Smith. Then they can add one of their top prospects overall, Spencer Jones. So they can put a package together of 3 or 4 elite pitchers. If the Padres are going to go in that direction, I can kind of see it. For the Mets, we don't have that type of developed pitching prospect yet. Maybe next year, if you give us another year to develop our prospects, we might be there. But for us to execute a trade right now, we just don't have the stuff that the Padres are really looking for. If they can revamp 3/5 of their rotation, they're going to lose They're going to lose Blake Snell, obviously. But if they have a chance to revamp their rotation when they lose Soto, I mean, that's good. That's good if they can replace that. They're not going to sign Soto next year. But that's just the fact. We just don't match up. Would I want to trade for Soto? Yes, I would want to trade for Soto. Would I be willing to give up like some of our young prospects, like an Acuna, some of the guys we just acquired? I would. I 100% would, but it just doesn't seem like it's something the Padres right now are looking for. Hey, Stoney, how's it going? Hopefully you're having a good day today. I know it's a bit boring in Mets world. Victor, so your comment, I think David Stearns has to realize he's running a New York team, not Milwaukee. I feel Drew Gilbert and Jet Williams are untouchables. Everyone else can go. And I would trade McNeil. Oh yeah, McNeil. Like I'm not a big McNeil fan. I would trade McNeil in a heartbeat if he gets you anything productive. But here's the thing about David Stearns. It's what is it? December 6th. I have to give him a full offseason before we jump down his throat right now. And it is a bit frustrating because I expect a lot. As Met fans, we expect a lot. Prices are high. Our payroll's approaching $300 million. Steve Cohen promised us a World Series 3 or 4 years ago. So as Met fans, we expect a lot. I expect a lot. I expect a tremendous amount, and I want it now. I have no patience. But here's the thing. If we want to actually think of this logically, David Stearns just took over this franchise a little over 2 months. He's just been inputting a lot of front office guys in the last couple of weeks. So we got to give the guy a bit of time for him to cultivate his plan. If he has a plan, and also, too, if you look at the rest of Major League Baseball, we're just waiting for Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto to sign. Like, there's no crazy signings going on really across the league. And I think I foresee a major trade coming too. So I want to be a little patient. I want to give David Stearns a chance. I want to give him an opportunity to succeed. I don't want to judge him as a failure or judge him that he's working as a small market guy. But it does look like that because he is signing a bunch of like these relievers and minor league AAA players. I mean, the good thing is there was no AAA signing today. So, that's good for David Stearns. No AAA signings thus far. But I definitely hear you with that one. Hey, John, how's it going? That's pretty interesting. To get Soto, everyone can go except for Acuna. Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Everybody's expendable in it with a guy like Soto, and I wholeheartedly believe that. Like Juan Soto's a generational talent. Generational talent. He's a guy I've coveted since he's been with the Nationals in day one. Since he was 19 years old, you could see how talented the guy was. But at the end of the day, until he signs a contract with the Yankees, Juan Soto, hear this, Juan Soto is still gettable. He's still a gettable guy. Yes, we will not acquire him now, but we can acquire him next year at this time. So unless he physically signs with the New York Yankees, Juan Soto is still a viable option for the Mets. We just may not have to give up as many prospects as the Yankees. And look at this. If Juan Soto has a great year with the Yankees and ends up signing with the Mets, and the Mets didn't give up any prospects, I mean, how will the Yankees look? Especially if they don't win a World Series. I mean, that would be like a phenomenal scenario if we build up our franchise. If we go from 70 something plus wins to 95 wins, Juan Soto jumps on the team, then we become a major contender. We work on building our rotation. I mean, there's still a lot of stuff we have to do to make ourselves that type of attractive destination, but I think we're well on our way of being there. Oh, you know what I saw? I was watching MOB.com today, and there was actually a note from executives across the league. Literally, executives across the league were complaining about Otani. Agents are complaining about Otani. Basically, they're saying that this one man is holding up everything. And the fact that he's been so quiet about where he wants to go and where he wants to sign, that's also causing a lot of controversy. That's also causing a lot of confusion because nobody knows what the hell's going on. So people are actually begging Otani, either please sign or let us know what the heck is going on, because all of MLB is at a standstill right now. So that's another reason as a Met fan, I got to kind of pump the brakes and just relax, because all of MLB is really in the same predicament as us. All right, so let's go to a comment by Victor. What do you think of Nimmo, Marte, Lindor, Pete? Sorry, I kind of lost that. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. What do you think of Nimmo, Marte, Lindor, Pete, JD Martinez, Alvarez, McNeil, Beatty, and Ronnie? So I'm assuming we're going with the lineup like that. So what do I think of Nimmo, Marte, Lindor, Pete, JD, Martinez, Alvarez, McNeil, Beatty, Ronnie? Well, I think that if we want to compete, I think we need more than that. Marte in the number 2 hole. Last year, like, he did nothing. He did completely nothing. We're getting the Marte that we got 2 years ago. That's another thing. But that's a big weakness I see right there, like putting Marte right before Lindor. JD Martinez, he's 36 years old. If he's going to be anything like he was last year, it would be okay. It would be fine. But I don't trust him to have that duplicated season to protect Pete. Now, I think our number 5 hole we have to treasure. We have to make sure that we provide elite production behind Pete. Remember, folks, Pete hit I think he hit 46 home runs last year with Vogelbach protecting him. Of course, yeah, Pete's average wasn't anything to write home about, but Pete had essentially no protection behind him. So I think if we get a guy like Martinez, I would have to get somebody else. I would get maybe a JD Martinez, maybe a Teoscar Hernandez. So at least if Martinez is not as productive, at least we have another 5th hole potential guy where we can kind of like, kind of trade off. Whoever's producing at a high level, it'll give Carlos different options. I don't just want one guy to have the job. I want multiple guys to be there. Hopefully they push each other to be ultra production. That number 5 hole is so important. So important. Hey, what's up, UK? How's it going? Hopefully you're having a great day. Like I keep saying, like I'm waiting for something to happen. Unfortunately, it's been very tough just sitting here as a Mets fan and then just turning on the radio, turning on the computer, turning on Twitter, and seeing all the other rumors like Soto going to the Bronx. I don't know how everybody else feels. If you're a Yankee fan, yes, great. I know everybody's happy, but if you're a Met fan, it is tough. It is tough. So, I mean, the only good thing that I say to make myself feel better, hopefully it makes you feel better, is unless Soto's signed to any long-term contract, he's still a viable option for the Mets next year, especially with Scott Boras being his agent. I mean, this was really a free agency I targeted. I'm like, all right, you know what? We got Otani. Potentially we have Soto next year. Hopefully we can get one of these generational players. Now, I know, Otani, it looks like it's not matching for one reason or another, but Soto is a guy that for years and years, we should have been targeting. And I think the Yankees have made a lot of bad moves in the last couple of years, but I think they learned one mistake. One mistake they made years ago was they had the opportunity to either sign Bryce Harper or Manny Machado, and they passed. They said, we're good. We got Aaron Judge. We got Giancarlo Stanton. We're good. But you know what? Bryce Harper, he's been a highly, highly productive player in the playoffs. And for the Phillies to have a guy like that to build around, a cornerstone piece, that's something that, the Mets, I believe, are lacking. The Yankees have that in Judge, but to build that core, that's something they're trying to do. So for the Mets to somehow sign Soto next year, that could be a piece that we build around, a piece that we have for decades to come. So I still think there is a possibility for that. All right, next comment. Thank you. Thank you as always for all the comments. No way Soto goes to the Mets in 2025. No way Soto goes to the Mets in 2025. More than half of New York will riot if Soto leaves the Yankees for the Mets. Now, I don't think it's going to be a riot. I think it's just going to be all about which team gives him the most money. His agent is Scott Boras. If Stevie's like, this guy's worth $600 million, to me, I could see, him do. I could see Soto going across town. Now, if Cashman and the Yankees see how much of a tremendous different and impact Soto has on the team, how he has it on Judge, the lineup, winning, ticket sales, merchandise, merch. If everything goes up, it might be a $600 million move for Cashman. And maybe Soto's like, if the money's even, I'm going to stay where I'm comfortable. So it's just going to be an interesting scenario and an interesting predicament. I said that if the Yankees want to be the type of club that they were 10, 15, 20 years ago, this is a move they have to make. They were always in for guys like Juan Soto. But for the last 8, 9 years, their approach seemed to have shifted. So now it just seems like the Yankees are going back to the old Yankees. Lucky us. Demon, hopefully I'm saying that right. Yamamoto to the Yankees' little brother. Well, that's the thing. The Mets have notoriously been the little brother to the New York Yankees. I mean, that facts are facts. And I'm one to kind of give a team their due. If a team wins, if a team is doing things the right way, like the Braves or the Yankees, I say, great job. And I look at my team and say, you know what? That team is doing it right. That team is presenting whatever they're doing that's producing a winning result. I would like to emulate or do it better. I like stuff like that because I believe it serves as motivation. When you're a big brother or when your crosstown rival wins a World Series, that should make you want to win a World Series even more. When the Atlanta Braves are in your division and they're constantly winning, that should make you want to win even more. So if the Yankees win a World Series this year and it's right in Steve Cohen's face, Steve Cohen should really get together with his David Stearns and the rest of the Mets organization and somehow put a plan in place to get better. That's what it's about. It's a game. MLB is a game. There's only one winner at the end of the year. And that winner, that means that whoever wins, they've done it that much better than every other team in baseball. That's why I give kudos to Texas. Texas wasn't predicted to win the World Series, but throughout the course of the year, they were the last team standing. They had clutch hitting, clutch pitching. Everything clicked. They didn't have DeGrom, obviously, and Scherzer was very shaky, but still, they found a way to get the job done. So teams that find a way to win, especially teams like the legendary Yankees, 96, 98, 99, 2000, to be able to three-peat and have a dynasty, I mean, that's like, we haven't seen it since. So it just shows you how hard it is to have a team, to build a team like that. This is from Stoney. I see in a report that Jock Peterson going to the Phillies. I don't know if it's true or not. Well, actually, saw I was watching MLB TV before as well, and I don't know, Mad Dog. Everybody whoever knows Christopher Russo, He said that he believes he's going back to the Giants. I don't know. I know Jock Peterson was wearing a shirt that said it's always sunny in Philadelphia. So I don't know if he's trolling the Phillies or if he's actually interested in going to the Phillies. But, that would be interesting because Peterson's usually notorious for going to like a winning situation. And he's always been a good clutch hitter, good at hitting home runs. So that would be a bit interesting. Game, hey, how's it going today? I love your clock. Oh, thank you so much. My wife bought that, so appreciate that. Yuki, thank you. You're right. I would like to congratulate you on your new space and happy holidays. Yes, thank you so much. For anybody who doesn't know, like I didn't broadcast for like almost 2 months because we moved from New York to Florida. I'm in Florida now. So my old place, they had to fix up and, they had to do their thing. So there was really no place to really broadcast. So a couple of weeks ago, we were able to get set up here. Okay, no way Mets spent $800 million between Soto and Pete in 2025. Well, I mean, if you're a billionaire like Steve Cohen, and if David Stearns tells you that this is the best direction going forward, I think there is a way. I do. I think if they were able to acquire a Soto, that would, in my opinion, make us less likely to sign Pete. I think Pete more or less is a backup option to Soto. If Soto gets signed by the Yankees, maybe the Mets would be a little more aggressive to sign Pete. But you're right. It's tough to see them signing both players because you got to figure the Mets are going to invest some of that money in pitching. But, I have my notes here. I have my notes from 2019 to 2023, and I attribute some of this to Steve Cohen. Major league payrolls have exploded. They really have. And I know it's, sales across MLB have, went up and, COVID took them back a little. But in 2019, there were just like 3 or 4 teams over $200 million. Now you have like 10, 11 teams over $200 million. The Yankees are going to be over $300 million. The Mets are going to be over $300 million. There might be 1 or 2 other teams over $300 million. So payrolls have exploded in the last couple of years. So to say that they just won't continue to go up and, the Mets will continue to lead that charge, maybe $400 million in the next 2 years will be a very feasible number. I know the Steve Cohen luxury tax, it was $290 million last year. It already bumped up to $297. So, I guess we got to see where payrolls go. But I could definitely see if the Mets find themselves in a position where, Soto would and Pete would be the difference going forward. Right now, they're just not the difference right now. We have so many holes, so many damn holes. We have holes in pitching, outfield, middle relief. It's just like to spend that much money on Pete right now when you already have a first baseman just doesn't seem like it's serving your overall team function. Maybe during the season. Victor. So Victor, you're right. To me, the best team ever in my life is the 2006 Mets team. That was one of my favorite teams as well. Their pitching that year, I don't feel like it was dominant, but like they had hitters. Obviously, David Wright, Carlos Beltran, Delgado was on that team. I think LaDuca was on the team. Is that I forget if that's the year they got Juan Uribe at the trade deadline. But yeah, that was a very, very exciting year. Very exciting. I mean, it was a tragic way in how they ended with the Wainwright curveball to Beltran, but it is what it is. And the funny thing is, I remember so vividly. That's when I was in college, and I had a professor that let us go home early just so we could watch those playoff games. So we ran home to that. And then when the Mets finally got knocked out, a couple weeks later, I'm literally in a shopping center, and I see a guy across the shopping center that looks like Jose Reyes. So I literally run over to the guy, and it is Jose Reyes. And I'm like, Jose, it's probably in the middle of November. They literally just got knocked out like 2-3 weeks ago. I'm like, Jose, I was watching you guys in the World Series, not the World Series, the NLCS against the Cardinals. What happened? And he goes, no, we're going to do good next year. So, we're having a conversation, and he's so nice. And I asked him where he was going. He said, I'm going home. I guess he was going back to the Dominican Republic at that time. But the guy just seemed like such a good-hearted guy that he was having a conversation with me for like 5 or 10 minutes. And I actually said, would you wait? I have a special med hat. I want to go get it for you. So I literally ran across the parking lot, ran back, took probably like 7-8 minutes. And he's leaning on the pole right in front of like this health food store, just for me to sign the hat. So that's a nice little story that I always remember about Jose Reyes and the 2006 season, because it was literally a month after we got knocked out. So it looks like we got some Yankee fans in here. Welcome. Congratulations. I would be very excited. My brother, I have a twin brother. He's a Yankee fan, so he's going nuts right now. So there was always fighting throughout the years, but you know what? If you do it right, and the Yankees have been developing pitchers in the last couple of years, they really have. So they have that pitching to trade to the Padres. So and apparently they have something that the rest of MLB doesn't, because there's no other team that has the pitching that they're willing to trade. Plus, they're willing to take the risk. And that's where I give Cashman credit. He's willing to take such a damn risk right now because he doesn't know if Soto's going to sign. Is there a good possibility he's going to sign? He knows he has the money, but there's not that guarantee. So I give the Yankees a bit of credit for pulling the trigger, taking a chance. That's what you got to do if you want to get back to that level. The last time the Yankees won was 2009. To Met fans, that seems like yesterday, but to Yankee fans who are used to winning a lot more, that's a bit of a long time. 2009, that's 14 years ago. So it's about time for the Yankees to get to where they were, and let's see if they're going to get there. And to have that type of rivalry with the Mets, I think is a good thing. I think it's a good thing for both clubs. It's a big good thing for the city. So, I welcome that. I'm excited about that. Yes, Tony, thank you. I appreciate that with the Christmas lights. My wife set that up. So, we got a nice little tree just to help, brighten up spirits a little bit, especially since things are kind of going slow on the Mets front. And, like talking about pitching, let's talk about pitching here. And pitching is the thing that every single team in MLB covets, every single thing. And I was looking at one of the most interesting articles last year. And if you think about it, like years ago, you look at like who's the top pitchers in the league, and you can clearly identify like Jacob deGrom, Max Scherzer, Clayton Kershaw, those three guys, they were notorious for being the top pitchers in the league, but just so damn long, those guys. But if you look at who are the top pitchers in baseball last year, who is the top pitchers? And if you look at like the list, according to like this article I'm going to share with you, it's a bit surprising. It's surprising how stark it is at the top of Major League Baseball is right now. There's no dominant aces like there were years ago. So if you have pitching, especially young pitching, that's going to be something to covet. It's going to be something to develop. And for the Padres to get a lot of that pitching in the Yankees trade, it's no wonder why they're giving up Soto knowing that they can't sign him. So in 2023, they ranked the 25 best pitchers from 2023. So the best pitcher, and we know he had a phenomenal year last year. He had a 7.4 WAR. It was Garrett Cole. The second best pitcher from last year was Blake Snell. Third best pitcher, Logan Webb. Then it goes to fourth best pitcher last year, performance-wise, was Sonny Gray. I mean, Sonny Gray did really good last year. He was 8-8 with a 2.79 ERA, 1.15 WHIP, 5.3 wins above replacement. Number 5 pitcher last year was Kyle Bradish. Kyle Bradish, he's a pitcher on the Orioles. He was 12-7 with a 2.83. Number 6, Zach Gallen. Number 7, Zach Wheeler. Number 8, the 8th best pitcher in baseball last year was Kodai Senga. Kodai Senga last year on the New York Mets was 12-7, 2.98 earned run average, 1.22 WHIP, 4.5 wins above placement. So he signed that 5-year deal, $75 million. And I said this last year. I said this last night. Kodai Senga signed a 5-year, $75 million deal last year. And it just shows you how the market will change. This year, Kodai Senga would have got well over $100 million. Well over $100 million. So we actually got a really good value contract in Kodai Senga. And then rounding off the top 10, you have Justin Steele of the Cubs and Kevin Gausman of the Toronto Blue Jays. And Gausman, he got a pretty good value contract 1 or 2 years ago. I think he made $120 million. But a guy like that, he would probably be the number one or the second. Probably would be right behind Blake Snell, because there's really nobody else after Blake Snell and Yamamoto. The pitchers really jump off a cliff. Now, I don't know if anybody saw this, and I thought this was interesting. I know we have a baseball channel here, an MLB channel, but what I saw was amazing, freaking amazing in sports in the last couple of days. Whoever's a Jet fan and who's ever a WFAN fan, who's heard of the Joe B talking to Robert Saleh, and Joe B was on the radio basically saying a conversation he's had with Saleh. And I'm telling you, it was the funniest but most craziest thing I've ever seen. So he's on with Evan and Tiki in the afternoon. So they interviewing Joe B, and they're talking about his texting the coach. And Joe B's like, yeah, no, I was texting the coach. I literally said, are you going back to Zach Wilson? And then, he gave him options. Number 1, play this guy. Number 2, play this guy. And number 3 was play Zach Wilson. And then Saleh goes, hell no, I'm not going with number 3, plays Zach Wilson. So basically giving the inclination that anything he wants to do is go with Zach Wilson. But I thought it's freaking phenomenal how a guy from the radio, I know he's not on the radio often, is basically sharing the conversation of a head coach of one of the New York teams. Kind of really just shows you how much turmoil there was if you're like a Jets fan and how ridiculous that situation is. And I mean, I'm a big Jets fan, so I was looking forward to this season. Aaron Rodgers, the Mets did terrible. Then, of course, obviously, Aaron Rodgers gets injured, and that season went down the tube quickly. But this is quickly, steadily, extremely fast, becoming one of the jokes, one of the worst seasons the Jets have ever had, considering the expectation. It kind of, if you really think about it, it mimics the season the Mets just had. The Mets signed, obviously, Justin Verlander. You could relate that a bit to Aaron Rodgers. They had such high expectations going into 2023, and then they just went into the toilet. Just like the Jets had such high expectations, and then eventually just went into the toilet. So whoever's a Jets and a Mets fan out there, I feel for you. It's something I'm suffering from as well. So, hopefully there's another year. There's always next year. Unfortunately, that's always the mantra. There's always next year, but it's got to be one of these years. One of these years, luck has to happen. Okay. All right. So the latest about the Soto deal, and this is from Jim Bowden. Jim Bowden, I guess he's reiterating what Jack Curry reported earlier. So they're saying that the Soto deal is going to be, so the Yankees, they're going to get Soto and Grisham, and the Yankees are going to give up King, Brito, Thorpe, Higashioka, and Vasquez, as reported earlier. And in my opinion, I don't know much about Brito, and I don't know much about Vasquez, but I know that Thorpe is a very good, promising arm. Obviously, King, he pitched last year. You know, he was dynamic, but obviously, if you're the New York Yankees, you have to do that package. You're not giving up Spencer Jones. You're not giving up Jason Dominguez. You're not giving up those studs. You know, and the rest of these guys you're giving up, I think it's well worth it. It's well worth it to give up these pitchers. It's well worth it to give up these arms. Soto's a generational player, and by acquiring Soto a year before early, free agency, you have that opportunity to sign him. So, good for the Yankees. As for the New York Mets, you need to push forward. You need to execute your plan. You need to be aggressive, because New Yorkers, especially if you see the Yankees successful, they're not going to take their foot off the pedal. Things are going to get bad in Queens. If the Mets see the Yankees successful, especially knowing that we have so many resources and our owner is Steve Cohen, we are not going to accept having the Yankees dominate and the Mets staking. It's not like it was over the Wilpons. The Met fans are going to expect a winner, and Steve Cohen, by putting David Stearns in place, has the executive. He has the guy that he personally hired. So there are going to be no more excuses. Now, if there's a plan where, hey, you know what, 2024 is going to be a write-off season, you have to be dead honest with folks. Now, I know August 2nd, right after the trade deadline, Steve Cohen physically came out and said, we know that spending the most money doesn't always work, but we will still be opportunistic. We will still be opportunistic. So I think if you don't intend on putting the foot to the gas this year, tell the fans and share the plan. Share the plan, because we're just not going to sit back and stink. It's just not going to happen right now. We want to see progress. We want to see, if we're not going to be the best team, we want to see the young kids being developed. But the bottom line is we need to develop our pitchers. And we need to make ourselves into an attractive destination, so that if a Juan Soto comes to free agency or a Shohei Ohtani, they want to come to us. Like, the biggest problem with Shohei Ohtani is apparently he wants to go to a winner. We don't present ourselves right now as a viable option. Although we can finagle things and say we have the most money, we have this plan in place, the proof is in the pudding. We were a bad team last year. We were a very bad team. We've been inconsistent. Yes, we won 101 games over a year ago, or maybe 2 seasons ago. But if Shohei Ohtani was sitting with the Angels and they promised him all these same things, like we have the money, we have the plan, Shohei Ohtani wants to go to a place where I've seen them win, or he's seen them win. Like, that's why we keep hearing Atlanta. As much as we hate hearing Atlanta, Atlanta has been a team that's consistently been winning. So that's what the Mets really need to do, present themselves in that light and develop that sort of culture. Oh, wow. I'm sorry. Like, for some reason on my screen, and it's a new computer, so I don't even know why it's doing this. Literally all the comments stop. So like now they're coming in. But so Dante, you moved from Florida 10 years ago. Yeah, the funny thing is, I'm in Florida. I've seen so many New Yorkers down here. Like, everybody I meet, I'm from the Bronx, I'm from Queens, I'm from Manhattan, I'm from Brooklyn. Literally everybody's from New York. So that's the one good thing, even though you don't really know a lot of people, at least a lot of people you meet are from New York. And I noticed there's not a lot of people that like root for the sports teams around here. There's like really no diehard Florida Marlins fans or Tampa Bay Rays fans. So that's a bit odd. There's a lot more Mets fans down here than any other teams fans. All right, so next comment from BMW. Let's see. And thank you for the comment as always. Another great subscriber to the channel. So Cohen and Stearns thinks Mets fans are a bunch of fools. They are not getting any top free agents this period. So, but if you look at the top free agents this period, obviously hitting wise, you have Ohtani at the top from the hitters, right? So Ohtani is in a stratosphere on his own. Yamamoto, he's the top pitcher. We are going after the top pitcher. If we don't get Yamamoto, it's a whole different story. But currently, we are all in for Yamamoto. We're all in. So, in terms of top free agents, we targeted a guy. So if we don't get him, we don't get him. But like right now, we are trying to get him. And as far as hitting, like hitters, it's not the same market it was in the last couple of years. You don't got guys like Trey Turner, Carlos Correa, although Carlos Correa has tailed off. Corey Seager. You don't have these like really like 7, 8, 9, 10 top tier free agents you can go after. So you really have to be selective. I'm not really so sure who I would dole out a whole lot of money to, because there are just, besides Yamamoto and Ohtani, there's not that many top tier free agents out there. I mean, Soto's not a free agent. Like, he's a free agent next year. If he was a free agent this year and we didn't go after him, it would be a shame. There would be no excuse for us to not go after Soto. Okay, now this is I know everybody in New York. New York. I love pizza, right? Part of my family, they had pizzerias, restaurants, stuff like that. So I love pizza, but the pizza down here, in my opinion, really leaves a lot to be desired. So anybody who lives in New York right now, and I'm pretty sure most of you do, because this is a New York channel, appreciate your pizza, because once you leave New York, the pizza kind of takes an acquired taste. Like, if you haven't, I haven't acquired that taste yet. I'm not going to say it's bad. It's just different, the taste. So I'm working on acquiring that taste for pizza. It's just a bit different than what I'm used to. Now, Dante, I see you like the pizza here. My wife likes the pizza, so it's a taste. It's an acquired taste. Now, the good thing is, if you're a Met fan right now, we still have a bunch of roster positions on a 40-man available. So there is still a great opportunity for the Mets to better their franchise. We need pitching, middle relief pitching. And, what I've advocated, the Mets could go after some of the top free agent relief pitchers. If they wanted to go after a Hader, a Jordan Hicks, obviously David Robertson. If they wanted to go after the guy from the Chicago White Sox, Liam Hendricks, those are guys who are available. So if they want to beef up their bullpen, if they don't get the starting pitchers, that could be a viable option. Outfield, they really have no outfielders right now. They just have Nimmo, and they just have an injured Marte. So there are a lot of moves to be made. And as we know, in their rotation is very bare. It just stands with Quintana, Senga, and I really don't even count Severino. So there are a lot of crap load of moves to be made. So it's really, really hard to judge the team right now. But like, I know everybody's like myself. We'll all just, you wake up, first thing you do, or the first thing I do, is I look at my phone, I refresh Twitter, I look on, I type in the New York Mets, I look at all the sites that cover the New York Mets. It's just like very tough right now when you're craving something to happen and it's just not there. But the good thing is, we know Steve Cohen has a desire to win. He wouldn't have put David Stearns in there, paying him $10, $11 million a year if his goal wasn't to win. right? So David Stearns is currently the architect of the team. So we're not familiar with David Stearns, the way he works. The way his vision is for this team is going to be very different than Billy Epler. Billy Epler was a bit more aggressive, bit more like you throw money at the top tier free agents. That was Billy Epler's approach. And we know that didn't always work. So, I'm interested to give David Stearns a chance. But on the same token, I'm very impatient myself. And I can understand why everybody else would be impatient. Venice is full of Italians. Are you talking about Italy or are you talking about someplace in Florida? Oh, Florida. Okay. Let me see something. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I just looked up that. I'm literally 2.5 hours away from Venice, so it's a bit far. So, I mean, I'm just like pretty interesting. Like, I'm interested in the fact that if we don't make, these type of monumental moves like we've done in the past, let's say we don't get a Yamamoto or we don't really kind of beef up the lineup like I think we need to. I'm wondering really how the fans will react because I think it's going to be like a very visceral reaction, especially the season that we had last year. But I just want, the thing is, I want to win so bad. I want to win. I really do. And any team that is successful at winning, like I really like to give them their props because I just hope that my team gets inspired and my team emulates a team that is accustomed to winning. That's why I'm like, hey, you know what? The Braves who do it right, I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe the Mets should poach some of their front office guys and do things the way the Braves do things. If the Yankees find a way to like win or find a model that they're going to be successful again, okay, yeah. The model from 20, 30 years ago isn't going to work in today's baseball. It seems like everybody is trying to rework how they evaluate the game. Analytics is viewed a bit differently than it was 5, 6, 7 years ago. Everything is changing. So, David Stern is a young guy with a new voice, a new vision. So I guess giving it time is something that we have to reluctantly do. Hey, what's up? Thou player of Brooklyn. Yep, another live stream. You know what the thing is? It's tough. The reason why it's tough is, and I've said this a couple of times, it's the fact that you hear a lot of stuff going on, a lot of rumors going on, and nothing involving our New York Mets. So it really just makes you think about, okay, what potentially could we do? Are we gonna go after like a Teoscar Hernandez? Are we going to go after JD Martinez? How are we going to beef up the lineup? What are we going to do if we don't get Yamamoto? Is Blake Snell in the cards? Although I don't advocate that move. We have options, but I'm just waiting for David Stearns to signal the flag. Once he starts showing us what moves he goes down, at least we're going to see a direction. I'm waiting to see that direction. Is 2024 going to be a year that we actually compete? If it's not, it's going to be extremely disappointing. So I hope that's not the case. All right, folks. We are about at the hour mark. So I'm probably going to jump on later, but I kind of promised my wife it's going to be about an hour today. And then I'm going to speak to you probably later. We'll see what happens. But, I'm going to call it quits. I got to go do a little shopping right now, a little Christmas shopping. But I'm going to be looking at my phone. Hopefully something happens. Again, if you can like the video or like the stream, I appreciate that. Helps out the channel. I will talk to you soon. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with me, hanging out with us. It's always fun. I will talk to you very soon, very, very soon. Have a good night for now.